Hello everyone. So we are starting Python today. So what we will learn first, I will introduce what is Python used for, then we will see whether we need to install it or if it is already installed, how to use it from terminal as well as by storing the code in a Python script and then running it. We will see how to work in Python, how to take input and how to display output. Typecasting, how to do it, Python conditional statements and loops we will learn, how to create functions, some of the data structures, arrays, list, collections and tuples, classes and objects, how to create and use them, file handling, how to open a file in different modes, how to read from file and how to write to a file, and also the exception handling if any error occurs. So let's start. Python is a popular programming language and the author of Python is Guido van Rossum. It was released in 1991. It's an interpreted language that means that you enter a line of code, press enter on the terminal and the compiler of Python translates it, or you can say the interpreter of Python translates it and shows an error if there is, or if there is no error, it displays the output of that line. The terminal of any operating system like Windows, Linux, or Mac OS can be used to run Python code. It's a high level language and it emphasizes code readability using the indentation. It's dynamically type checked and garbage collected. It's supports multiple programming paradigms, including structured, object oriented, and functional programming. We can do a lot of things in Python. Currently, everything like developing websites like Pinterest. We can develop data science applications. Most of the Python that you see today is for machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. You can also create games using Python, and you can use Python for scientific research like simulation and modeling. Also, you can generate music or arts using Python, and it is also used for DevOps and automation. So we can say that almost everything today is done using Python. Now let's see the installation and execution of Python code. Okay. So I do have this terminal. So let me see if we have Python installed. You can check if Python is installed by giving Python minus minus version. So Python 3.9 is installed. If you want to install another version, we can also do that, but for now it's okay. So we can start Python from the terminal by giving Python command, and then it will show these three caret symbols, and here you can then start writing Python codes. Let's do it. So here you see that these three caret symbols are actually asking you to enter some Python command. So let's say if I write print hello world and press enter, the string that I have given to the print command will be displayed on the screen. Okay, if you want to exit this Python, you can press Ctrl D and your cursor will, or your Python means your Linux prompt will appear back. You can also write the exit with opening and closing parentheses to do that. Let's do that. Python print hello world, and here I am giving the exit function to exit Python. So in this way also I can come out of Python. Okay, so this is how you can start Python from the terminal. Now you can also save the Python code using any editor in a file with .py extension, and then you can use Python command to run that script. Okay, let me show you the same thing. So I am using vi since we are in Linux, so I'm using vi to create hello code, hello.py. So it opens the vi, go into insert mode, and here I'm writing print hello from Python script. Okay, so I want to save this one line, save and exit, and from here using Python hello.py, this script will be executed, and you see that the output is displayed on the terminal. So there are two ways you can use either one. Either you open Python from the terminal, or you can save the Python code in a script and then run it using Python command with the name of the script. The complete path of the script must be mentioned. If the path is in another directory, then give the complete path. For example, let's say that there is a desktop directory and I am creating a file there. Okay, let's save it. And now give the complete path. So it's still running. If you give the correct path of that Python script, which is not in your current directory, it will run. So this is how you can run Python scripts. Okay, now the how to take input from user. So there is an input function which can be used to take input. Here you see that first you can divide it into two ways. First you print a prompt for the user, and then you can use the input function to take input in a variable, and then you can uh, use the print statement to display the value that you have received. Or you can combine both of these things in the same statement by writing x is equal to input, and inside the input function you can give the prompt, and that will also do the same thing that you see here. Let's do that. Okay. I have opened the same code that I was using before, and here I am writing enter first variable x is equal to input. Sorry. Hmm. But here we are not taking it in print, but we are using y is equal to input, enter the second variable, and then we are printing the value of first and second variables are okay. Let's save and run it. Let's enter 4 for first variable, let's enter 3 for second variable, and then it displays the value of first and second variables are 4 and 3. So this is how you can take input from the user and display it on the screen. Okay. Now here you have seen that I have concatenated the value of x and y with some uh, string that I have concatenated with these. So this is also an example of the same thing that I have done, that you can display the values of variables with the string to create a customized message. So that is how you can do that. Next thing is typecasting. Typecasting is required when we are performing some arithmetic operation or we are taking some value and the variable that we need to store that value in is of a particular type. So we may convert the data type of that value that we are receiving to store in that particular variable. For example, here you can see that we are taking 1 and casting it to integer before storing it in x. And here also a float value 2.8 is casted so that its integer part is stored in y and the decimal part is dropped. And also if you receive a string 3 here and you want to store it as an integer, then you can convert it into integer and then store in z, and then you can add these to display the result. So let's do that. I'm creating another file, arithmetic.py. Okay. Here I'm taking string 3 and in y I am storing 2.8 and then I am displaying the result. Print z is equal to x plus y. Okay, so this is done. We can create functions in Python, and function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. You can pass data, which are also called parameters, into a function, and also a function can return data as a result. How to create a function? We use def keyword to create functions with the parenthesis. We write the def keyword, then after a space we give the name of the function and parenthesis, and after that we give a colon. Colon is to specify that the next thing is a block that is associated with this function. Means to specify the body of the function we have to give a colon, and indentation is used to define that block. We don't use braces here in Python, but we use indentation to specify a block with the if else, with for loops, while loops, and also with functions. So here is a function which will print something, and we can call it by using its name in the main Python. So let's create it. Let's create a simple def greet user function I'm creating, and it will just print hello from Python function. Okay. Since this function ends here, so In the main area, we will call that greet function. So greet user, and let's run it. Okay, so that greet user function was created and executed. In this way, you can create functions for creating a lot of things like arithmetic or whatever. You can pass parameters which will operate that function. For example, let's create another function here. Def my sum. Here I am passing two integer values, b, and I am returning their values. And here I am calling that function my sum by passing it two values, 3.5 plus 5.5. But it should be received by a variable and then print z. Here it should be a comma. Okay, so you see that it calculated the parameters addition and returned the result which I stored in z, and then it displayed its value. Next thing that we are learning is conditional statements. You know that conditional statements are used when we have more than one path, and based on the condition we have to choose one path. So if elif and else block is used for condition check and execute the block whose condition is true. Here you see that three variables are declared and given values, and we are checking if A is equal to B, if A is equal to C, or if nothing is true. So this is how it executes. You see that if follows by a condition check and then a colon. Colon starts the if block, and then statements of if block go here. If that block doesn't uh, evaluates to true, then you will go to elif. Elif also have a condition check, and then after colon comes the block with elif. But if all the elifs are also not true, then the default block is else, that the condition of else will be executed if neither if nor elif is true. So this is how if else, elif or else is uh, created here. Let's do that. We are creating a file equal to 10, p is equal to 20, c is equal to 30. Okay, so we are writing z is equal to 40. Okay. Now we are checking if z is equal to a. Our number print z is our number a. Elif z is equal to b, print z is equal to b, elif z is equal to c, z is equal to c, else no number matches z. You see, because z was not equal to any number, so it's showing no number matches z. So this is how you can evaluate if else, elif and else. It's another example. Okay, so in Python we also have switch cases, but it is called match case. So instead of switch we write match. We have a number with a value and we can check different cases, and if based on the case that match we can display that. So this is how you can do that. Okay, I'm giving a string weekend is equal to Sunday. Or we can say day to day is equal to Sunday, let's say, and then we are using match. Match day to day, case Sunday, print hooray, it's weekend. We can check it for Sunday or Saturday. So if it is Sunday or Saturday, we will display that it's weekend. Case anything else. So underscore, we will print oops, it's weekday. We can take it from user. Sorry. We have to check for numbers. Something I'm doing wrong. Okay, let's say AY. Okay, leave it for now. I'll have to see that what's the problem with that. We will return to it. Ternary is another variable that you can use if you want to, you have only two condition, if or else, which can be true. So that can also be used. We are not going into detail of that. Here we are using arrays. You can see it's a data structure. So it's a collection of items that you can store at contiguous memory locations. But arrays can only contain items of the same type. You can create arrays using array module for efficient storage, and this is the syntax of creating an array. And key features of arrays are that arrays can only contain elements of the same type. Arrays use less memory compared to list, and they are mutable. You can change the contents of an array after it has been created. Some operations on array are indexing, slicing, appending, and length. So this is an example of how you can access array element once it is declared. You can slice array by starting from the first element and going till the third element. Means if the array was defined like this, it has four elements. Array index start with a 0, 1, 2, 3. So when you slice an array and you give this kind of thing, it says that skip the first element, start from the second, and uh, skip the last element because it has four elements, so 1 till 3 means you will not display the first element at 0th index, but you will go to 1 and 2, and you will not include the third element, means only two elements you will display. And then you can add another array element by using append function. So a 5 will be added. You can also get the value of array by using the index, and you can update the value of the index or the element at that index by using that index notation. Okay. Lists are versatile data types used to store collection of items, and they can hold different types of objects, combination of strings, integers, objects. You can use a lot of things to create a list. Lists are defined using square brackets, and elements are accessed using zero based indexing. So lists are more supported in Python, so we will see how to do that. The key features of list are they are mutable. You can add, remove or change elements. They are ordered. So order of element is maintained. Means the first element is added at when, so it will be accessed first. And lists can grow or shrink in size as needed. So here is for example, how to create a list. So fruit list is created with 3 fruits. Then you can append more elements to list by using the append function, and then you can use print to display what are the contents of the list. You can also use for loops to print the individual elements. So let's create that. We have to create it first. Fruits is equal to okay, so a list is created. Then we can print it. And we can append more. And here we are using for loop for f in fruits, print f. Okay. So here you see that first we printed the list by using print list, print fruits. But if you want to display the individual elements on single line, then you can use for loop to uh, access the element and display individually. These are common list functions, like if you want to access elements using indexing, you can give the fruits 0, it will return the first element. If you want to add element, like we have appended orange to the fruits list, you can do that. You can remove the elements using dot remove to delete a specific item. Giving the index, you can delete that item from that particular position. You can sort the elements in the list using list.sort function. For example, fruits.sort will sort it alphabetically, and then you can use the len length function to get the number of elements of the list. So that is what you will practice. Now loops are to iterate or repeat something. For example, we have a for loop in Python. There are different syntaxes for using for loop, like we have seen for fruits to show individual elements. You can do that. And you can also use for loop in a range. Here you see that range specifies the starting value of x. This is x is the loop variable. You can give the ending value, but that is not inclusive. This is exclusive, means starting of value of x will be 2 and the ending value of x will not be 30. It will be before 30. It's excluded. 30 is excluded. And the increment or step size will be 3, means you will add uh, in the starting value of x, every iteration will add a 3 to the value of x, and then it will keep printing the value of x until it becomes uh, less than 30, means 29 will be the last. Let's see that. For range, 1 minute. Oh, step in was wrong. Now it is done. Okay, so in this way you can use for loop to iterate over a loop, or you can generate a series using for loop. These are different ways in which you can iterate over list, tuple, string, and dictionary using for loop. So tuple is something, it's a collection of element, but it's not like list, but it stores using parenthesis a list of items. So tuple is this, and you can iterate over the values of tuple. And if it's a string, let's say a string ABC is there and you want to show individual elements, then you can use this for loop syntax. If you are using a dictionary, dictionary is actually storing a key value pair, where here you see that a dictionary is created in D variable, and X and Y are its keys, and they have some values stored. So you can display the uh, keys and values by using this syntax. And then set is also some ordered value collection. So you can define a set and then you can print the values of set elements. So this is how you can use for loops to iterate over these things. I'm not going into detail. You can check for the references section if you want to further see how to create that. Here, while loop is used to execute a block of statements repeatedly until a given condition is satisfied. If the condition becomes false, the line immediately after the loop in the program is executed. So here you can see that CNT is initialized with a 0, and while count or CNT is less than 3, this loop will run, where you will increment 1 to the value of count and print this line hello Greek. So for 0 it will run, for 1 it will run, for 2 it will run, but not for 3. So 3 times hello Greek will be printed in this case. So after 3 times the hello word printing hello word, it will show end printing and loop will end. So here you see that 3 times loop run, and after the loop condition became false, it exited the loop and printed end printing statement. So this is how while loop is executed. You can create classes and you can create objects of those classes in Python. So since Python is an object-oriented programming language, so everything in Python is an object with its properties and method. A class is like an object constructor or a blueprint for creating object. For example, you can create a my class with a variable x is equal to 5. X is a property and you are giving it a value 5. And then you can create an object of this class my class by using the name of the object is equal to the my class means the class name with parenthesis, and then you can print the value of the data or the attributes of that class using dot notation. So let's create a car object, car class, which will have a make and model inside that, and then we will display these. Okay, so we are creating an object of this class. So car1 is equal to car, and then we are printing p1, sorry, car1 dot make and car1 dot model. So here you see that we created a car class and then we created an object car1 and we access its properties. You can create methods for a class by defining using def. So here is actually we are creating a class person and we are creating a constructor where we are giving default values, that if we pass some value to the constructor, like if p1 a person is created for person class and we pass it the name and age of that person, so it should be received and saved inside it. So how to do that? We have an init function which we can use to do that. Okay, it's double underscore before init and double underscore after init in this init function. Sorry, vi So here I'm creating a class person, class person, and here we are creating its constructor. Self.name is equal to name. So whatever user has passed while creating the class, these parameters in will be initialized here. Okay. So this class is complete. Uh, but here we are defining the method greet. It's a class method, so we are defining it at the same indentation level. And it will just print okay, so this is done. Now we have to create a person object p1 and pass its constructor the name and age, and then we can use its greet function to display this information. Sorry, let's see what is wrong here. Let's pass it separately first. Okay, so actually some formatting is needed in the print, that's why it's not showing that. We can do that formatting, but for now, to make things simple, I have just printed it separately. So this is how you can create function methods inside classes, and then you can call them using dot notation, which will print the name and age or the parameters, uh, the properties that are encapsulated in the class. You can access them using the functions of that class. This is another explanation of init. Okay, so Python collection list, tuple, set, and dictionary, how they can be created. The syntax is given here. Further, uh, you will practice on your own, like creating tuple. We have already seen it while we were discussing for loop, that how to create these things. But tuples are actually used to store multiple items in a single variable, and it's a collection which is ordered and unchangeable, means you cannot change the values of the tuple. It's not like array and list. Now the important thing that I want to talk about is file handling. So text file handling in Python is very important, and it has means Python has several functions for creating, reading, updating, and deleting file. So key function for working with file is open function. You can open a file in read mode, append mode, write mode, or create mode. If the file is open in read mode, uh, if the file exists or not exist, but if you give a name and open it in read mode, it will be created and it will be open in read mode only. You will not be able to write anything, but you can read the data if the file already existed from that file. So here is for example, uh, you can give like that. It's similar to opening a demo file.txt file in a read mode, means text mode and read mode. Okay, so open function is there. You can also open a file for appending. It will create a file if it doesn't exist, and then it will append the new data. If you write something, it will be added to the end of the file. If you open a file in write mode, it will open the file, but it will overwrite the data. If you write something to it, it will not append to it. And then you can create a file by giving X. So it creates the specified file and returns an error if the file exists. So let's see that how we can do that. So in Windows, we can give the path and the mode of this file. Let's see, in this directory, do we have a file? We have file 3. Let's see what is in file 3. So there is file 3 is empty. So let's create a file handling. That is file handling .py in vi. So I'm using F with the open function to open the file 3 in read mode. Or since there was nothing, so let's open it in append mode, and I will add a line to it. So how to add a line? I will write f dot write can be used to write something to that file. Hi, it's first line appended to this file. Okay, and then you can close the file. Then you will, let's say, use F1. We'll open the file again, but let's do it only for this one. It will just add a line. So it's done. Now if you cat file 3, it will show that this line which we have added is appended to this. Okay. Now let's create another file handling 1.py where we will open this file in read mode. Okay. We have to give vi instead of Python because that file handling 1 doesn't exist yet. Okay. So here now we will open the file in read mode and we will read the line. Open file 3 in read mode. Previously we opened it for append and we will use the print command while doing the fread function. Okay, and then we will use f dot close to close the file after reading. Save it and run it. So this is we read the file and then we display using print whatever we have read from this file 3 and then we close the file and exit it. So this is how you can open the file for writing or open the file for reading and then you can open the file for appending something to it. That's how you do that. Okay, so exception handling is actually handling the errors. So first you must know what is exception handling. So exception is an event that disrupts the normal flow of a program. It occurs during execution when an error arises. For example, you were performing some arithmetic operation and a division by 0 happened, or you were taking a input which was invalid, or maybe there are some logical errors. So that may halt your system or maybe some destruction could happen. So we should not do that. So we have to do the exception handling. Exception handling actually doesn't halt the system, but provides some way to inform that some error has occurred and close the file that produced that error. So different kinds of exceptions can happen, like division by 0, zero division error, type error when an operation is applied to an object of inappropriate type, value error means, for example, uh, instead of an integer a string is received, and file not found error when you try to open a file but that doesn't exist or you give a wrong spelling. So these are all exception. So to manage exception, Python uses two things, that is called try and except blocks. So the code that you want to execute, you put it in the try block and it executes, Python executes that code. If nothing, no error occurs, then the code will be executed smoothly and result will be displayed. But if the error occurs, then except block will handle that error. So except block will receive the error, and based on the error matching, like if it is zero division error or if it is an input invalid input error, it will display the message. Okay. You can also add else and finally to extend this exception handling. And for example, if the error doesn't occur, then you can print you entered this, and finally you can print done. So finally is actually a block which is added to clean the code ending. So except handles the error, except block handles the error, else runs only if things worked, and finally always runs whether there was an error or whether it was not an error. So it is how you perform the exception handling. Let's do that. Exception. So we are writing a try block in which we will input a value in C or X. Next we add an except block which will receive a value error if you enter a wrong value, maybe a string. So if you enter a string, it will display that is not a number. Okay. Else if you entered a correct value, then it will print you entered X. And finally, before ending, it will print done. Okay. Let's see. Let's say I give a wrong error. So that is not a number is printed, and done finally is executed. Let's run it one more time, and now I enter a number. So it will print you entered 5 and done. So this is how exception handling is performed, and it doesn't halt the system, but it redirects the program execution to handle the error in except block if we have entered an error, and then based on that the error is handled. So thank you for being with me to understand Python. We will stop here for today. See you next time.